Welcome to Common Crawford and the Jersey Guy. I'm Lewis, here with Kenny.
Hello.
And Jersey Guy Tom.
What's up?
What's up?
What's up?
How you guys doing?
Good.
Excelente.
Pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah. So, hey, what's that face I see over there?
Why are you saying that for?
Because it's pareidolia is the topic of our show today.
Oh,
Got him.
very clever.
Yeah. You like that, right?
Wow.
So go ahead, Lou. You can tell what pareidolia is. You like that? That was good, bro. You can't even front. I got you good. I did get him right.
Pareidolia is a
That
psychological...
That was a good one. That was a good segue. I like
He
it.
threw me off. It's a psychological phenomenon where people see recognizable patterns like faces or in random or vague stimuli, such as clouds or textures. It's our brain's way of making sense of random patterns and identifying familiar shapes or objects.
So it's
It's
not
a-
like when you say I see the same number everywhere.
No.
No,
This
it's not
is
the
that you
same
see.
thing.
It's like when you look at marble, right? And the marble is really
That
veiny.
marble looks like a face.
Right,
Right.
like a face here. Yep. Or the way the
Automatically
trim
with
is
me,
in.
I have it.
Yeah.
I see it
you
in
know what?
everything. I see it in everything.
You know, I do that a lot too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With like things, anything that's like a swirl.
But it's cool as shit though, because there's a lot of good stuff that when I lived in this goes to the same thing.
Yeah.
When I lived in Pine Bush in our basement, there was these patterns in the floor, and I saw these faces that were there. So I drew them out with pencil and stuff.
Did you?
Oh, that's cool.
And made them, and it came out the way I thought it would look when I went. It was fucking crazy.
Bro, then you were living over the gate to hell because
No, bro,
that's in
they
Pine
were-
Bush. And you know what Pine Bush is crazy people over there.
Relax, bro. It was just a pencil. There's no candles involved.
It's gonna
No,
be
the
like,
people trying to get
It's
out.
gonna be like that movie,
No.
The Gate.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
I'm sorry, but that was it. That's on my head.
So-
but yeah, so then now, did you see a lot of the faces after you drew them? Because you only drew what you saw or whatever characters.
I drew it how I saw it on the pattern.
And
on the
how did
floor.
it look when you
It
drew
looked
it?
like what it was that I
Oh,
was trying
yeah?
to draw. Yeah.
Dude, because I'm always thinking about it because so my bathroom, it's marble
get-
tile walls.
You
So
see
then I'm
paper.
standing right, but then I don't see it when I get out of the shower. You know what I
Right,
mean? So like I'll
right,
see it
right.
now when I'm in the shower and I'm like, oh snap,
Right.
and I'll see it.
I have the same thing when I'm in the bathroom.
Right. So then when I get out
File on
and
the
I
floor.
like came back in and I tried to draw it or trace it or
I
whatever.
got like half a dozen of them already.
See, because you see different ones all the time.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
I
you
see
see?
another one.
That's
Just automatic.
Funny.
The house I grew up in, like I had wallpaper in my room, right?
Right.
You can create some good art from that. Go ahead, finish it.
But I removed the wallpaper, and I don't think I didn't do a good job. I was like 17
Okay.
or 18. I didn't do a good job, and like I left some of the glue behind, and I painted over. I remember looking at like the glue marks and be like, that kind of looks like a face. That kind of looks
Yeah.
same thing.
Right. You ever look at the back of a car when you're driving?
Pareidolia.
Sometimes it looks like, yeah, that's what it is. You see the eyes, the nose.
Yeah.
Right? When you look at vehicles or certain things, it's crazy. Like
Yep.
my mind just does that shit immediately.
You
So
see
I
it in
looked it
your
up one day.
food?
I'm like, what does it mean?
That's
I
funny.
asked Chat GPT and you know, but that's not the only one there is though. There's like so many different kinds.
Yeah. Now that one, I didn't get the meditation and prayer. So quieting your mind through meditation or prayer is said to create a space where guardian angels can.
Oh, you're
You're on the wrong one.
Oh,
He's
I got my other papers.
oh my
bad.
God.
Put that over.
Yeah,
Wow.
I gotta give you this one. Yeah, Lou turned around and he did some Google searches, and yeah, I read the one paper I had for my other one.
This is not Google at all. This is
this
Chat GPT.
ChatGPT. I'm sorry, my bad.
All right. And several interesting psychological phenomena you can
right.
explore. Here are a few. Confirmation bias.
Yeah.
The tendency to search for, interpret, and remember information that confirms one pre-existing beliefs. I don't think we do that.
No.
Is there anybody that does it? We probably know people that do that.
This is about pareidolia, or
Yeah.
is, or
Yeah,
is
no.
it something different?
This is we can still talk about that.
Yeah,
I'm
no,
just
no.
saying,
Oh,
there's
okay.
a number of them, so that was just
Oh,
one
yeah,
extra
yeah.
one.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah,
the
yeah,
pareidolia
yeah.
is cool because do you do that at all? I mean, do you like? Have you ever tried to draw out what it is you've seen?
no,
when you
no,
do-
I never
Yeah,
tried.
I've never done that
That'd be
either.
It's
cool.
really crazy.
Yeah.
But you got to get the traceable paper
Right,
and all that,
yeah.
or take the picture of it and blow it up somehow and then do it that way.
Right. Yeah, I've never done it.
I
I've
think it
seen
will come out the way you see it. The way it comes out is the way you see your mind is going to make it.
Well,
happen.
see, so let's see what the crazy is. If not literally, but so boom. When you look at some of that stuff, though, Tom, right?
Right.
Do you see most like cartoon characters? Do you see funny faces? Do you see animals? Do you see human faces?
Yeah, all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
Human faces, animal faces. Sometimes
that's what I do.
not just
Cartoon
faces,
characters,
bodies.
you can-
Sometimes bodies is not always a face.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, not sometimes it could be. Yeah.
I don't see
Like
human
sometimes
bodies. I see
sometimes like stick figures.
yeah.
You know.
So I don't see like human bodies. I see like or shapes. I'll see a human face, but then I'll see like the whole animal body. I'll see lions, duck, or whatever with like the human face on it.
Yeah.
Like looking like on some cartoon crazy shit.
Yeah. Did they say anything else about this patterns? Recognizable patterns. Oh, see. Also, it's not just faces. It's patterns.
It's anything.
Right. Yeah. Right.
So
It's whatever your mind decides. I can tell you that right now. My mind sees something. I already have it in my head. Done. It's like
Yeah.
it's automatically there. It is. I'm looking at it right now.
That's
there.
right. And now, do you find the same ones?
What do you mean?
So you said that you're in the shower, or you're sitting on the toilet or whatever.
Oh yeah, I can still
and you
find the
look,
same ones.
you'll
I can
find
still
that same one.
I can still find that same one.
but it's also shapes and
But it's more than
objects,
one.
too.
It's a bunch of
Right. Yeah.
It says familiar shapes and objects too. It says
Right.
So.
Right. So then,
Of course,
then,
it's whatever's
So
stored in
not
our
just-
brain.
Yeah,
You know,
it's not just faces. It
Yeah.
could be like
it could be anything.
Yeah,
it could be
yeah.
No, I was talking
structures,
about
anything.
faces
Yeah.
first. That's
No,
what we
that's what I'm
started
saying.
with.
It's
Yeah.
which
Oh,
is so
yeah.
crazy. You could be creative with it
I
too.
got-
I've read
I
where
got-
it said
yeah, because it's
people
not-
make art from it when they can use
So-
and make art from it.
So for me, that I get that a lot with like shapes and stuff.
Yeah,
Like
all
that,
the
too. I
time.
always see shapes, like
Yeah.
especially in like
I can do it with shapes. I can do it with patterns. I can do it with like you said, marble,
Yep.
tile. Boom, right away. It's
that's kind of like
Yeah, it's
why.
like-
I'm wired that
I-
way.
Right.
That's
Yes.
why I actually enjoy like abstract art. right?
Yes.
Because you see shit in it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
That's
Yeah,
why
that makes
You
sense.
got to go to the Met, bro.
But not like where they just like splattered paint and they're like,
Yeah, no,
this
no.
is art. I'm
no, you
I'm
got to
talking
go.
like that
Right.
real like crazy.
Yeah, you got to
shit.
go to
I hear
the
you.
Natural Museum, the
Natural
Art-
Museum.
Or the-
no, that's
no,
the
no,
other
the
one.
MoMA, you mean?
That and the Met. The Met is
yeah,
great.
that's yeah.
We went to the Met, and I was like, "Yo!" I said, and I didn't want to leave. Jessica was bored. She was like, "All right, I want to go see the other pictures and the other drawings and,
And they,
stuff."
they
And I'm
usually
like,
have some weird stuff at the Guggenheim too. It's small.
Yeah.
It's a tiny museum, but they
Guggenheim.
have weird stuff.
Yeah.
At that one. Yeah.
Have you been to
That's
Storm
the
King? Oh,
spiral,
you don't even
yeah.
live on the site. You got to go to Storm King Art Center during the summer when it's warm out, and you'll see a lot of that. They have they make metal art,
Right.
outdoor art.
Who's
and
to
they
say
got
that
some
they didn't get
cool
it from
stuff.
seeing a shape somewhere?
Right,
I
yeah.
have been to
Right?
the Guggenheim
Yeah.
once, but when I went there, they had some weird exhibit.
You actually
where-
went there, huh?
Yeah,
Yeah.
They had some weird exhibit. It was whatever exhibition they had. It's like the one for like the few months. It was like stuff with TVs, like old TVs, and they were on, but they were on displays. But what was on the TV kind of what worked with what the display was. It was weird.
Right.
That is awesome.
That's more like working art stuff.
Yeah,
Right.
that's a little, yeah. But I guess whoever looks at it is the one who, if they see
Right.
something from
Yeah,
it,
yeah.
they're picking it up. You and I might look at it and go,
Yeah.
it's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Or maybe like what the fuck?
Yeah. Well, what about when they do those other things where they take they hang pieces of whatever off of the strings, and as you walk around it, it turns into a picture and different shapes and
I didn't see
faces
that.
and stuff. Yeah. It's like as you walk around the art, you see different things. They set up how they have it hanging, and you
That's
see
how you can use this to you. If you see something, you can be
Yeah.
like, I'm going to draw that. If you keep seeing it, if you see it in a pattern or something,
Yeah.
and I see the same ones all the time. I
Right.
got a bunch of them, and and I could even change the one or two of them to a different.
Yeah, because it's like a picture of whatever inside of a picture or
Yeah,
something
it's
else.
weird.
It's in like you got to go bigger. You got to take
could
a step
split it.
back, bro. And you're like, oh, look at that. Next thing you know, it's your whole wall.
You look at Ferris Bueller when they're all staring at the art.
Yes, exactly,
Right.
just like that. Yeah, we're gonna go hang on and look at some tile. Yeah.
It's been a long time since I've done that to go look it up. I'd rather go to the museum, to be honest with you.
Oh yeah,
You
dude,
know
it's
what
great.
I've never done?
Oh, yeah.
What?
I've never gone like
To where?
lit up and then go.
Where?
Oh, this
oh,
guy.
to the
That's
museum.
Yeah, you could do that
That would be a fun
You
trip.
got to go to the planetarium.
That would be
and do that.
dude, that would be a fun trip.
Yo, you
That
guys
would be
are hilarious.
Bananas. All
All right, road trip sound like it.
Yeah.
I'm down. I haven't been to planet.
But that's how, think of how cool you can learn that particular thing. The way you see things creates the art that your eye sees that no one else is. because everybody has their own look, their own
See?
thing, and they might be able to mimic it because after you did it, but they didn't see it first. You did.
But even just going as an adult now is like gotta be so much different. Because I haven't been on any stuff. Go when you were as a kid, like, you know what I mean. As an adult, maybe you can appreciate it more. You know what I'm saying?
I guess we probably would, yeah.
Like seeing the art. As
Some
a
art
kid,
is
like,
beautiful. Some art,
Yeah.
you're like, okay, I don't get it, but hey,
Even
again,
when I went to the Guggenheim when I was in college. I went to the Guggenheim and I took like art appreciation or something like that.
Right.
Like, oh, you got to go to like a museum. I was like, what the hell? For part of the semester, you got to make me go to a museum and I got to take a trip to the friggin' city.
Yep.
So I went to the Guggenheim. That's when I went. But but I was still young. I still didn't appreciate art.
Right.
I think now as an adult,
that's what I think. Pretty much think about it. A lot of stuff you do.
yeah.
You definitely when we get to the age we're at, we started maybe not you so much, but us.
Right.
Right. So,
But
go ahead. I was gonna say. So my question, okay, being as it's in anything. So back in the day, right, when before electricity and people were like roaming the planet,
surviving,
when they looked up and they first started to write down
the map of the stars. You mean
the map of the stars?
Yeah.
So there are things that are in the stars because without the light pollution, you can really see the stars. So now think of how bright, quote unquote, the stars were to these people. You know what I'm saying? Way back when, and that's how they made the constellation.
But aren't there certain points on the planet where if you go, you're going to be the closest to see
you can
all
see
of
the
that.
things,
You're
right?
going to see all.
But I'm just saying. But before us having that, now we had to go someplace like that. People could just be like, who was standing here, a million years ago that was looking up, and they saw the stars. How they made the pyramids. So then they saw the pyramids in the stars, and that's where they just aimed it to put it down.
Well, yeah,
and
so
make the pyramids.
However they saw it is the way they put it in. You know what I mean?
So they saw it. So then Pareidolia is same idea. So maybe it's not
the constellations.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's true.
So then
Like,
it's not that
Well, you
there's
can,
no.
you can apply
it's
that really to
Orion's
anything though when you
belt,
think
you
about
know?
it.
No, but it would change what it is that people believe
Orion,
were. Yeah, like what it was. It wasn't really that the aliens came down and there were the gods and whatnot. It was that the priest or whomever in the
line
town,
of the star.
looked up at the stars and saw the pyramids and then just copied it and brought it down and had it built. How it was built was another story, but the idea that that's where he got it from,
Yeah, but they're all set up that way when they're all.
They match the stars.
3 of them in a row. Boom, 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 boom.
Yeah, and that's Orion's belt. I think it's Orion's belt, right? Yeah.
Yeah, so it's they knew what they were doing.
But they saw,
But
Pareidolia is
that's the same
they
thing.
saw that they saw those things in the constellations. Because I don't see them.
Pareidolia.
Yeah, I don't see it. Even when I'm looking in the book,
I do.
I don't see the
do.
constellations. I don't
As soon as I
see
What do you
the
mean?
bear. Like I don't see the bear in the constellations.
Oh, there are some I can,
don't
and there
see
are some I
Orion.
don't. Like I don't even get mine. I'm Taurus,
Right.
It's like okay,
Yeah. Right, and I don't see the
those
whole book.
ones are-
Yeah, but
I'm
I don't
talking
see
like the Dipper.
Oh,
gotcha.
yeah, the Dipper, okay, but
Orion,
the Big Dipper,
too.
Orion, I don't see.
Right,
see?
Orion's
No,
not.
I don't. I mean, I just see a stick figure kind of thing.
Yeah,
you know
that's
what
what
I'm
I'm
saying?
saying.
But
That's
I
what you're
mean,
supposed to
I
see.
just don't see it. If I look up right now, I
I have
know
to
where
look
the 3
for.
belts
I've
are.
seen some crazy stuff up
Yeah?
there. Yeah, when it's a certain time of the year and night. And,
It's good when you're like deep in the woods.
Yeah, I'm good.
Right, no
I'm
light
good.
pollution.
Oh my
Right.
god!
And
It's
then you can
crazy.
see everything.
It looks. It is so crazy when you look at the sky at night when there is no light pollution. It's insane. It's incredible.
Right.
Right. Oh yeah, it's beautiful.
So much.
Yeah.
I think of what your eyes could make out of that just by looking at whatever it's seeing in the
Yeah.
sky at that time and the patterns and everything that are
Listen,
going through
if I
your
wasn't
mind.
so scared of the woods, I'd go.
Just things popping off in your head.
Yeah. No.
You
I would love to go and see that. I'd be, enclosed glass ceiling or whatever.
Planetarium.
I'm not doing,
Yeah, man.
But yeah, that might be where, how people saw all those constellations, where they came up with their gods and
I
stuff
think
like that.
too, because when you do look at night without any light pollution,
Mm-hmm.
like there's certain ones that there's certain stars that
Yeah.
like really shine compared to the rest of them. So it's easy to it looks more like it when you're looking at, you can see more of like, you see that like a figure or whatever out of it.
Right.
But like,
yeah, we get
like
it.
Orion, it looks like a stick figure. But I think people go, well, it looks like a person because it's a stick figure. But yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, it was like back in the day, well, not that far, but like, was it 25, 30 years ago where the people went bananas because there was a piece of toast that had like the Virgin Mary on it?
Yeah.
You ever see that?
They saw that, right?
Because
So
they
again,
saw it.
they saw,
Somebody
right?
saw it.
Did he draw it out?
No, the toast was right there. Like you could look at the
So
toast.
you do it yourself. Do you see it?
I saw. So
Did
when
you see it?
what they did was every picture after that is that they highlighted what that thing was. Like they showed the original,
So you're
like
not seeing it
without any
she'd
of the
have to
highlighting.
point it out
next
to
to it.
you for you to see it. Like,
No. It was on TV. It was on the news and everything. So then, you look at what they showed the original, and then they did like that highlight over it, so you
I
could see
see
what
what you
everybody
mean.
was saying. You could see that there was an image in the toast. You know what I'm saying? When I say it was the Virgin Mary, it was a lady, and
again,
somebody with a hood
she
on,
obviously
you
saw
know?
it. I mean, but did it happen that way though, or was it something that she had, like
Oh no,
some
no.
type of
She toasted
spiritual
some bread.
awakening or something?
She was a church going woman.
Okay.
And she had made some toast and she had put it down and was doing some other stuff. I believe that's how the story went. And that when she turned around, she's like, "Oh my God, it's the Virgin Mary, and it looks like the Virgin Mary." And boom, there was a building I remember too where there was somebody saw Jesus's face in the way that the way that kind of like the window was, the condensation on it, and it looked like Jesus' face in
That's
there.
what his mind
It was in
went
a
to.
skyscraper.
Yeah, that's how his mind
Yeah.
perceived it.
Yep. And they took the window out.
And I bet you if
people
you
were paying
showed
homage
it,
to
right,
whatever.
if you show it to you and you see it, like
Yeah.
once they show you, you're like, all right, maybe. Sometimes it does,
Yeah.
sometimes it doesn't.
Yep.
You know,
What about those images where it's you see two things, but depending if you're like left brain or right brain thinking?
like crazy
where
ones.
you see like the ugly woman, old woman,
Right.
then it's some- and it's a
like a very
horse.
pretty girl,
Right,
Like
yeah.
a very pretty woman,
Right.
Yeah.
And then there's a very old looking woman,
Yeah.
Or what about that famous dress? Where's the dress?
Oh, is it
what color
was
is
it
the
like
dress?
green or purple? or
right,
some
and it
shit
means
like
something, right?
that? Yeah, whatever side of your
Your
brain
left
was
or right-
running or whatever.
right side thing.
What about that other
Yeah.
thing where you're sitting? If it's not moving, it's like some crazy like 3D thing.
Oh,
or if
right.
it is,
Mhm.
it means your mind is,
Yeah,
you're
yeah. Like there's
something's going on right now.
the not psycho, like that spinning wheel
Right.
kind
It's
of thing.
weird.
What you see. Yeah, listen.
Oh, yeah.
You could find any. I mean, like we said, we could look in almost anything. Looking here around the room. If I stand back a certain way, I could see the neighborhoods, Park Slope, right there down to you, right. And like I could see the different things in all of it. I could look in the city stuff.
There's
At work,
pictures we have on the wall.
at
Yeah, yeah.
one of the machines that I work on, I was telling Lewis that there's powder on that back window. Now I got the machine moving, so I'm gonna have to show you on Monday, and you could see there's just one big thing of powder on this plexiglass, like
Okay.
static, and you see, like I see, like 3 different faces on there, all looking back at me too.
Wow, 3 faces, not one.
Yeah, but it's
3.
because of how I'm standing that it looks like one face, this face, and another face, depending on where I'm standing over there. It's like what? So now I don't even want to look at it because
Right.
I'm trying to think of what I did last week. Like, who did
And every
piss
time I
off?
try to remember to do it, I forget about it. Like I'll be looking at, like you said, you're already in the bathroom, and then when you're out, you forget about it.
Right.
It's like, damn, I gotta trace that.
Yeah. I wonder too if when people see these things, right? Us, if it's depending on the mood that we're in, what our mental state is at that moment, if that determines on what we see,
Oh, probably. I mean, isn't that like what's that test they call it? The ink blot test? What's the name of it? Rorschach.
yeah.
It's like a
Yes.
Rorschach test.
Right.
Yeah,
What do you
yeah.
see?
Yeah, what do you
and
see?
that one, they must have had a field day with me because I'm sure I remember taking them.
Really? You took one?
Oh yeah,
I don't think I've ever taken one.
I did one.
I did. I took them.
Yeah.
And I remember, and I saw all kinds of shit in them. I'm sure, absolutely. If you showed them me now, I'd probably be like, oh, I see this, I see that.
Yeah, 'cause I mean, like the famous one that they show on TV and stuff is the butterfly, and that's just an ink blot.
Right.
Like that's a caterpillar. So I mean,
But they show you an ink thing, right? And then,
right.
Exactly.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. So
Yeah,
it looks like
that's
all
what you
the
see,
different,
right. Exactly.
Now, when you see these things though, and because I'm gonna say for me, I've seen it somewhere else. So I'll see something like I said, in my shower on the wall, and then I've been somewhere else and I see it live.
Right.
So whether it's like a face or a house, whatever structure, I've seen that in the. So my pareidolia is bugging me out because that's shit that I seen in real life.
Yeah, it's some of the things I can't even describe that I see. It's just it's pretty crazy. You know what I mean? But I was like, oh, what does this mean? And I looked it up. And I'm like, oh, that's cool. And then I was like, are there other things that people have that we don't know about that would be in category or something like that?
Okay.
So it's not necessarily the same thing in that, but it falls under the same genre.
Okay, I'm listening.
You know what I mean? So there are several interesting psychological phenomena you can explore. Here are a few. So that's not the only one.
Okay.
And earlier I mentioned confirmation bias, the tendency to search for or interpret or remember information that confirms one pre-existing beliefs, or cognitive dissonance, the mental discomfort experienced by a person who holds two or more contradictory beliefs, ideas, or values affect.
But we talk about that a lot in animal rights.
Okay. I'm not going to say anything.
Well,
Because the cognitive dissonance, that's like like when someone's like says one thing like, oh, like I care about this, but then they do something, like this.
well, listen.
Yeah.
I'm all for, not
See, a lot
treating
of that.
animals like crazy, but
Yeah. No,
I don't mind a hamburger.
That's a phrase that like I heard so many times.
Right.
Yeah.
In the vegan community, it's like cognitive dissonance, but yeah, it's a
Right.
popular phrase.
That's funny. Yeah. That makes, I mean, that's wild. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah. I just hear a lot, but yeah.
Okay, Lou, what was the other one? The next
The
one?
placebo effect.
Yes.
When people experience real improvements in their condition after receiving a treatment that has no therapeutic effect at
Right.
all.
Yep.
Pretty cool.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, isn't that crazy how that happens? That's like a real thing.
You trick the
like,
body.
Mm-hmm.
You just
People
trick the
actually
mind.
get better from
You don't know what's in that
nothing,
pill.
from
Yeah.
thinking that it's going to get them better.
Right. And that's where.
Or that bullshit shot that you're getting. It could
Right.
be a vitamin B shot and you have no idea that you're fucking getting it.
and you still wear herpes.
Right.
He goes, right. I got you, bro. I got you. I got you. He
Some
goes,
people,
right.
some people get
That's so messed
some people
up,
get that
man.
with vitamins too.
It's
And
not
they
right.
take vitamins like, I
Right.
feel
Yeah,
so
you
much
did.
better. I took a vitamin, but that's not
Yeah.
how vitamins work. They don't
Right.
make you feel better right away. It's like
Exactly.
maintaining blood
Yeah.
levels.
Right.
Yeah.
You know that. Right. Exactly.
Yeah. It's crazy,
crazy.
because you think about, how many times your parents gave you something.
Yeah.
And they're like, no, here is take this, you're gonna feel 100% better. That's a form of hypnotism.
Sometimes you did.
Right. And that's a form of hypnotism.
It's just
Because
saying
I'm
to
telling
you,
it's a
they already
subliminal message.
planted that into your head.
There
and
you
if
go.
you believe your parents, why wouldn't I believe my mother?
Yeah. Right.
Right?
Meanwhile, she just gave you a grape. You know what I'm saying? Like she just gave you a piece of
have this.
candy. Yeah.
I promise you, as soon as you leave, you'll feel as right
Right
as
as rain.
Oh,
Yes.
Matrix.
Yes, good one.
Exactly.
But so that again, if we think about the people that were here a million years ago,
Yeah.
they're looking at the stars, in their own ways, because they had the witch doctor, the person that the person who took care of the health of the people in the
Witch
village.
doctors.
Well, I'm just saying witch,
All right.
and
See what this is
they were
about.
telling people here, this is gonna make your belly feel better. This is gonna make your headache go away. This is what you're gonna do. The meditation. You know what I mean?
Right. Well, think about all the stuff that that they're finding now that actually works. That instead of
Right.
that's actually natural and does work and does help in getting more people on that, which is really good.
And like I said, I think to me too, not everything. For certain things, that it's a type of form of hypnotism.
Oh yeah, when they
know what I'm
when they
saying?
plant that in your brain,
Yeah,
your
'cause
parents know
that's-
they say that to you. I remember one time I was somewhere and it was my aunt, Hilda. My Aunt Hilda. I had an Aunt Hilda.
That's great.
And she said, we were at her house, and she said, close your eyes. We're going to bed. Close your eyes. Breathe through your nose and out your mouth.
Mm-hmm.
And just keep doing that and focus on your breathing. I was dead to the world.
Yeah.
She planted that into your head, right? We did it. And you just slept. You were out,
Right.
cold. So I think it's a power of suggestion, maybe, in a sense.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
No, it's not, anything magical or anything like that. It's just another way to get you to motivate you. I'm sure that athletes do that. I'm sure.
Right.
There has
Picture
to be
this. Vision the wind. See the wind.
right. I'm sure that,
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
it makes sense.
It's everything, it's anything. Those who can do it better than others,
Right.
are living differently. Everybody's living different. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, if you're able to be artistic with it.
Right. Yeah.
In some way, and it helps you. Like if you see something in some kind of pattern or something and you think it, however, you think people will be, amazed by it, then, hey, man, you should do it. Whatever it is.
Yeah. Dude, listen. And
but however you see it. But,
yeah, because I don't have that kind of vision. I'm not artsy. I tried. I sat and I thought about it and I tried to draw and I just can't draw worth of shit.
Yeah, neither am I. But
yeah.
But if I see something, if I could trace it,
yeah,
I'm sure I can get it to look to where I need it to be. You know?
No, my tracing sucks. Like those motor skills for me are just
man.
Yeah, no. But I could put a machine together. I could fix it that I'm mechanical or such.
I'm sure you could if it was blown up enough where you didn't have to deal with like minute stuff. Where if it was blown up, you would be able to do it and just do it section by section. Then you wouldn't have to worry about working so hard.
That's yeah. But yeah, man. I mean, different things people see. Some of it goes in what has made religion, I feel, or
we were just on the halo effect too, though, right?
Yeah, that's the one that was coming up next. Sorry, I keep hitting this thing. Yeah. That was going to the.
The placebo. I apologize.
Yeah, the placebo was. I was just sorry. I went way out there for the placebo because I was just thinking about what it is that people, when we say what they see, how they feel, with the things in the. Oh my God, I forgot the name of the thing.
Remember the placebo. Remember
placebo. Go ahead.
Remember the episode? I think when I think about the placebo effect, I think about the MASH episode where they ran out of, I think it was morphine or something like that. And they had to give these guys pills, and they were just sugar pills. That's all they were. And it actually, well, of course it was TV, but I think they went off a lot of real stuff that happened during the time. That it was able to get a lot of them to believe that it was, and they weren't in pain, and some still were, and you couldn't really do anything for them. It wasn't helping.
Right.
Those were a little bit more tragic, but they said it, and I know in real life they do placebo, they do tests like that. I mean, they have the placebo. You don't know if you're getting the placebo or not. Right. I think it's like a blind test. Is that the correct interpretation of that?
Yeah.
Right, so you don't know what you're getting in the sense of where you can make some kind of judgment call or anything like that.
Yeah, no doubt. All right, I'm sorry, I interrupted your the halo effect.
No, go ahead.
So the halo effect, the tendency for an impression created in one area to influence opinion in other areas, such as assuming a good-looking person is also good in other ways.
Right. Well, this happens a lot with celebrities.
Yeah.
We think, well, they're good at movies, so they're a good person.
Right. Which is not the case.
They're good at sports, so they're a good person.
Yeah.
And that's why people, that halo effect, that's definitely, we see it all the time.
It definitely is.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. We're seeing that a lot.
Especially,
that's
funny. And it's funny because when that gets shattered right away when they meet someone and they realize they're a total asshole.
Right. Never meet your heroes.
Yeah,
right. And the ones, they say the ones that play the bad people
are the nicest.
Are the nicest people.
Isn't that funny?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. The actor who played King Joffrey is like supposed to be like the nicest kid in the world,
right?
And in fact, he
quit acting, did he?
I don't. Did he? I don't know, but I remember seeing an interview and he was just so funny. He's like, everybody hates me. He goes, I don't know. He goes, it's just a part I'm playing. It's like,
right.
Right. That's messed up. Yeah. But you're right. I mean, and that's even with people that we see.
Right.
Not just celebrities, but he's like, he looks like he might be. But see, I think that those of us that have been around a little bit longer, now we see somebody pretty. We're like, I don't trust him. Well, I got to meet him.
Everybody wants to look good, of course, right. And with social media and everything like that. So everybody's working extra hard to do it.
That's, I guess so. Don't trust anybody. Right?
I know it's like general knowledge now, but I know the one that trips everybody up is like Chevy Chase. Let's find out he's like. But now I think that's like common knowledge now. But a lot of people back in the day didn't know. Like
he was a son of a bitch.
That's what we've heard. We're not sure, but that's the scuttlebutt, right?
Yeah.
I mean, but who's to say?
Yeah.
It sucks that if they wouldn't have liked that, though. I mean, because you're like, wow, why? But I guess whatever. That's a whole other subject. We could do that on another podcast.
That's a good one, actually.
Yeah, it is. But the halo effect, that's pretty wild how people, they automatically, and then of course, everything is shattered when they realize, no, this person's not what I thought they were at all.
But it's funny how we give people passes. It's like, oh, it's all right, you know, like
I know,
especially
isn't
when
it
you hear
amazing?
allegations and stuff like the Me Too movements and stuff like that. People will be like, oh no, but he's a good guy. Like, how the hell do you know? You just know him from you know his movies.
But look at his
or
face.
whatever.
No, my whole thing.
Yeah.
My whole thing. I've always said, you know, nah, I don't believe that. But I get it. I do that because it's more of a vibe for me.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Not just in the movie, just in, you know, other things. And, you know, show me the whole video. But that's another story. Right. You know? But I mean, you're right.
We all do it. You know what I mean? We assume that someone's a good person just because.
Not necessarily.
Yep.
I mean,
you could tell if a pretty girl or someone who's pretty or someone whoever is very good looking. Let's just say it doesn't have to be a woman necessarily.
Right.
But they're dicks.
Yeah.
You can just feel it. It comes off of them.
Think of how many times
they look good.
Right.
Yeah.
But they're douchebags.
Think how many times you've held the door open for somebody who you would have considered attractive and they don't say thank you when you hold the door open.
Oh, yeah. I always say, you're welcome.
Yeah. Right. So you held the door open for the better looking person because you thought they were going to be the nicest.
But I hold the door. If I'm close enough and I can get to the door.
Yeah, me too.
I'll hold the door.
No. I'm just using this, you know, like
I see what you're saying, though.
You would turn around like, you know, you would wait an extra, 15 steps for that good looking person that's walking toward the store.
Yeah.
But if somebody's butt ass ugly, you're gonna make like you didn't really see them, and you're gonna jump back in the same distance.
Well, I don't know if that's true. That's probably something you would do. But
what? Me?
That's messed up.
Never.
Man. You know.
Tom's like,
don't put me in your shenanigans. All right, pal.
All right, what's the next one?
So I mean, hey, I don't have that though. I think I did when I was younger though. The halo effect. Mm-hmm. More so because that time of your life, you know, you're growing up with certain pop idols, things like that, right? So you would assume that they're really good people, and you find out later, no, fucking douchebag.
Yeah,
no,
yeah,
you know,
like you know the person is. You watch a show and you know that, but as soon as you watch it, you forget it because of the character they're in. So you never even think about it, right? Think about it when you watch what do you call Christmas Vacation and.
Yeah,
I mean, come on.
You plus you also associate. That's a problem we have too, and I'm sure that's another thing that's not. I mean, it's not on this sheet, but like there's probably another one.
Oh, I have more on the other sheet.
But there where like you assume like the person is the character they're playing,
right, exactly, and that's where you make the wrong assumption right away. Yeah. That this is just somebody that they play.
Like,
period. End of discussion.
Right. Whatever the actor's name is, I'm not the character.
Right.
But people do.
Yeah, unfortunately, they do.
Yeah. That's how I know you.
Yeah, right. Exactly. It's like, no, you know the character, not me. You know. Like.
Well, what's this one here? The spotlight effect, the tendency to overestimate how much others noticed and evaluate our appearance and behavior. Okay, I probably say I was a victim of that. Probably when I was younger.
What?
Just
feeling
the
like
spotlight effect.
Feeling like people were looking at me or judging me, kind of thing. Weird thing. Yeah. You know, like, oh, am I wearing the right thing? Or do I look all right? Or, you know.
Yeah.
When you're younger, it's different. When you're older, you're like, I don't give a shit.
Well,
I mean, you still do. I mean, I care how I look, of course, but now I don't burden myself with it.
Yeah,
That's what I'm saying. You know what I mean?
Most people don't even notice you. You know?
That's right.
You know what I mean? Like,
you're right.
Unless you're like wearing something or look something ridiculous that makes you stand out, but most people don't. They're just everybody's just doing their thing.
Yeah,
you know?
But
you know what I mean?
I think because there's something about everybody that somebody else likes.
Right.
So you know what I mean? So like, you know, somebody's walking past the three of us and they're gonna see you because they like your glasses.
That's true.
And then that draws them to look at your face, and then they notice you, and it's like, hey, that's a good looking guy.
Some people watch too. So.
Yeah. Make funnies, you know. Other people turn around, they see the three of us walking, they look at Lou, and they're like, Mr. Tucci?
Yeah.
You know?
Right.
You know? Like, you know, it's the mind is so powerful. You know, and
we're all different, so
that's what makes it even crazier.
And then when you put together like how many people do this thing, or you know, or that kind of, or have this happening to them, or whatever, it's interesting, you know. And how does that help with like for instance, I like on the ambient noise, right? I could fall asleep to a whale song,
right,
which I think is perfectly unbelievable. For me, I could do it as long as it's slow and not too loud. I could, it just got to be where you want it.
Okay.
Tanya thinks I'm crazy. She goes, "It sounds horrible."
Yeah.
She's dying. So that's again.
I need a white noise. A constant.
To that too. But for me, I can do that. But
even
to
rain
each his own.
sometimes.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah, same. Like I said, like I need constant noise. Like rain, even rain
Right.
sometimes. If it's not, if
Agreed.
there's a gap in the track, I won't be able. It's got to be.
Really? Are you really serious?
Because I'll hear the
boy.
gap. I'll hear. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh, I
You'll
can't
know
do
where it is.
Right.
You'll
Like,
know where it is.
I used to have a white noise machine, and I had the, or it was air conditioner. It was called, so it sounded like an air conditioner, like an old school air conditioner.
I said, "Go what?"
And
excuse me, guys.
I heard a gap in the track, but it would be like every 5, like,
Right,
it'd be
right.
like every 3 or 5 minutes. You'd hear it be like. I would hear that. I would hear it,
That's great.
and
That's
it would
awesome.
trip me up. I wouldn't be able to sleep with it.
Well, yeah.
That is hilarious.
I got more.
Yo, that's great. Okay, go ahead.
Let's see here. Bader-Meinhof phenomenon. You ever hear of that?
No.
Frequency illusion. After learning about something new, you suddenly start noticing it everywhere.
Oh yeah, well that's the same thing. Like when you're like thinking about buying a car,
Yes.
you see that car everywhere.
Yes.
But it's not that you don't see that car everywhere. You just notice that car
now
everywhere.
because you're looking to get it. Like, oh shit,
Because you're paying
everybody got
attention.
one. Yeah,
Like, holy shit, this is my car.
yeah. Another guy got
Because
it.
I remember like one of my buddies was when the RJ Cruiser first came out. The Toyota RJ Cruiser.
Yeah.
He was thinking about getting one, and like as I'm driving with him, he's like, "Look at RJ Cruiser! Look, there's another RJ Cruiser." I'm like, "I've never even seen this car anywhere, but I probably
Now all of a
have."
sudden, now you see it all the
I see it
time.
all over the place.
Right?
Yeah.
Yep. Or even your own car. Like you don't see anybody driving your particular
When
car.
I had the Subaru,
Yeah.
I did not with this one.
Okay.
Not with this one for some reason.
Really?
And I didn't pay attention, possibly, but not that anything I can remember. With the Subaru, the blue one,
Yeah.
all the time. I would see the
That's
same car.
hilarious. My car, I didn't even see that often around. And then you started driving the same make.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh shit. And I didn't realize it. And then all of a sudden now I'm seeing them everywhere.
Right.
Yeah, no, that's a good one. I like that one.
That is a good
when
one.
You learn about something new, you see it everywhere.
That's great.
The next one, this is interesting. Change blindness. Failing to notice change in a visual scene when the change happens gradually or during a brief visual disruption.
How small? I know you're not. I didn't say. I know because you just read that. Because see, so like if something is like fading, changing
blindness.
up, morphing.
Failing to notice the
Something
change.
else.
In other words, they just see it. They continue seeing the same thing. I guess.
Yeah,
I don't know. I've never had that. I thought that was a good one. I'm sorry.
that's wild.
How about false consensus effect? The tendency to overestimate how much others share your opinions, beliefs, and or behaviors.
So now, would that be when you're discussing your opinions? When you're having your moment. So I know if I say, "Oh yeah, so aliens are this and the third, and they came from here," and then you're like, "No, I don't think so," and he's saying something different. It's like
you're assuming that other people think the same way you do. Is basically what
Right.
this is saying.
yeah.
Right, which is not the case. We may agree on some things, but doesn't necessarily, and it depends on the whole thing. Okay, next thing.
With a lot of people.
Yeah.
How about
Right now,
I'm
right?
not saying I'm not talking about politics, but like people who are very political on one side tend to do that, and they assume that you're with their political side.
right? Exactly.
They do it all the time.
Yeah.
It's Okay, then hindsight bias.
Ooh.
The I knew it all along effect, where people see past events as more predictable than they were.
Yeah, I like doing that. I have fun messing with people with that. Like
That's a good one.
I told you.
Hindsight.
This happened. Well, that's what we were talking about one time, you and I, because a lot of the things that we see happening in the world now, the topics are things that happened in the past, to some extent. The protesting, the clothes, some of the music. Like it's like, oh, I told you he was gonna come up with another one like that,
Yeah, well, that's happening.
Yeah, definitely. Music. I like the music one though, because in TV shows, yeah, there's a couple of good ones too.
Here's another one.
Go ahead.
Priming. Exposure to one stimuli influences a person's response to another. Often subsequently. Oh, I can't say this word. Subconsciously. Excuse me. I got it. Subconsciously, seeing words related to old age makes people walk slower.
Never heard that.
Is that an example?
Of course, I butchered it before I butchered it. Primary exposure to one stimulus influences a person's response to another.
Yeah.
Often subconsciously. Seeing words related to old age makes people walk slower. That's weird.
Yeah.
So you say something, and then it makes me feel like, oh my God.
So they plant the seed in your brain.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
Right?
Yeah,
that's some psychological.
Yeah, that's weird.
Weird stuff.
It is
and
weird.
You
I'm
think
sorry.
about it, like I always tell my doctor, he's like, bro, you jinxed me. After 50, everything started to hurt, like for real. I mean, it does hurt, but it's still like,
Right.
shit. He's the one who put it in my head, and now it feel like it's now because of what you just read.
Right.
That
Sure,
makes sense.
it happens.
That makes sense. Yeah.
This one we know.
Go ahead.
Self-fulfilling prophecy.
Oh, yes.
When a belief or exception influences behavior in a way that causes it to become true.
See that a lot.
Yeah. Definitely.
That I do believe in that in a sense. If you harp on it, I guess, for too long and beat it,
You kind of
bring it on to yourself, I think. And I'm sure we've all in our lives at some point did that and had to and go through the whole motions. But
you start a new job, and I don't know if people at my job like me, and then no one likes me at my job, and then you start getting nasty towards everybody, and now nobody fucking likes you.
No, nobody likes you. Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like
you
that
set
kind
yourself
of thing, you know
up.
what I mean?
Yeah,
Right.
You do like that kind of thing, or that's like a self-fulfilling prophecy, or
that's really weird.
Mm-hmm.
Or like I'm gonna go broke. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, screw it anyway. I'm going broke anyway, and you spend all your money, and now you're broke.
Yeah, you're really broke. Now you're officially broke.
Just poor attitude is what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How about social loafing?
Hmm?
People exert less effort when working in a group compared to when working alone. Yeah, well, that makes sense. Wouldn't that be called teamwork?
That's what I was going to say. Yeah, it's teamwork.
No?
Or lack thereof.
That one's a weird one. Negative bias. The tendency to give more weight to the negative experiences than the positive. Well, we know that person.
Yeah, that's like that's
we
the
already know that person.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. That's the half is half empty.
Right.
Glass half empty person.
Yeah.
You know, just like
it's crazy, bro. The mind, how we think.
It's amazing.
It's wild.
But that's just that's just an idea. The thing that, that just that particular subject and all the other ones that come along with it, okay. Mind is pretty freaking complicated.
Yeah.
Yeah. Got all this shit flowing through. Hang on, we're not done. We got more.
you got one more.
More exposure effect. The more you're exposed to something, the more you tend to like it, even if you had no strong opinion at first.
Yeah, well,
I can see that.
I can see that.
Okay, here's the example.
Music.
What
is
about
one.
you hear the song you don't like on the radio, but they just keep playing it over and over.
You wind up singing it anyway.
You're like, you know what?
Yeah.
I like that song.
It's not too bad. But they do that on purpose.
Yeah,
that's
they
their
do.
marketing.
Yes.
That's the marketing.
And they just pound it into your head.
Stations to play it because they know that psychological effect. What is it called again?
I'm sorry. Excuse me. Glasses.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, see?
You have the same
You
paperwork,
don't
by the
need
way.
the glasses.
Mere exposure effect.
Mirror exposure.
MERE.
I knew it
The
existed.
more you're exposed
but
to
I didn't
something,
know
the more you
name of
tend
it.
to like it. Yeah, I believe that.
But yeah.
So that was a good one then. To end on. You got one more? We could do. You got one more like a.
I don't have one more.
Okay, so
Can you think of one off the top of your
so
head?
that's cool right there. That's a
You know,
good
that's
one.
pretty
That's a
wild.
good one to end on. And then the funny, we're gonna have to change. So what was supposed to be the topic? I guess we're gonna say was Parahu.
Well, no. Well, it just
Yeah,
it's
it was
fine.
just so this
It's
episode is
More on.
my mind's playing tricks on me.
no. It's just
Yeah.
it's psychological phenomenon. These are certain
Yeah.
psychological phenomenon that we
Yes.
spoke about.
Yeah.
That was just one of them because I tend to do that one, Pareidolia, right? So, but then I said, okay, well, what are other ones? And that's what I looked on ChatGPT, and then it gave me a list of them. I'm like, wow, okay, check it out. I didn't know about this one. Yeah, I knew that one.
Right.
I probably did this one. Like you just kind of go through the motions when you're looking at them.
Yeah.
I thought it was interesting. Could I just
Yeah.
try to keep going deeper into it? Like, what else can I get out
That's
of
what
it?
happens. See, so that's your what was it? I think your meditation.
Yeah, it could be.
That's your
For sure.
meditation.
No doubt about it.
You start thinking about it. You too,
Yeah.
bro. You do that too. You get that one thing and it's like, whoosh, and you just run with it and
Knock it out.
Yeah. Get it. Yeah. Hyper focus. That's a good word for that.
Yeah, hyper focused.
So
So that being said, my friends,
love, peace, and hair grease.
live long and prosper.
And go vegan.
Holla.